Welcome, 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 everybody. It's your girl, Delores, just the pink girl in my pink world, here on every platform with my good brother, J News. I know he looks different, y'all. He's the same man, just a different body. Hey, J News, tell them about yourself.
All right, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It has been uh, it's been like 2 weeks now at this point since I've been on. So uh, just glad to be back. Last week I got taken away due to some work stuff, but back at it again this week. Um, as always, appreciate y'all watching and things of that nature and being active in the chat as you usually are. So we're going to get prepared for that. And we've got some things to go through and to get you through and to get you all updated and informed on what's going to go on during WrestleMania weekend. So that's what we're here for. And that's how we're going to break it down.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you will be here with me during WrestleMania weekend. Hopefully, we can make it through together. We can get to the other side. But, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing the reviews. Reviews will be smaller because, as you know, I think there are 3 shows that we're reviewing after the normal weekly shows. Next week, we will be here on Tuesday, 1 p.m., to do After Mania, the chaos, the drama, the effects of everything. We will be talking to you on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Hey, Francis.
Hey, Fran, you'll be hearing from me later.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get time for the Hit the Rope podcast where we go from way back last week to the future of next week. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the review. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with WWE. And you know, we're going to always start off with Monday Night Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, Monday Night Raw was 1663 on the 7th on Netflix. We had the WWE Women's Intercontinental Title match. Lyra Valkyria defeated Bayley. We had American Made, Brutus Creed and Julius Creed, and along with El Grande Americano, defeat LWO, Cruz del Toro, Dragon Lee, and Joaquin Wilde. We had a WWE Tag Team title match. The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, defeated the War Raiders by DQ. We had Penta defeat Dominic Mysterio. Did you see any of this? And what did you think?
I saw bits and pieces of what went on Monday night. I was in all honesty, I was just asking myself a couple of questions as to one, why the Lyra Valkyria versus Bayley match ended up the way that it ended up. One, that was one of the questions I asked. Two, this whole El Grande Americano thing. How long is the WWE really going to go with it? Per se, people already kind of know what the shtick is. I'm not too sure how much further they can drag that and make it somewhat comical. So who knows there? The New Day defeating the War Raiders via DQ, cheap win. I would imagine that they get a shot at the tag team championships going into WrestleMania, either the Raw after or maybe a pre-show match, be it that they won via DQ. Who knows? And Penta defeating Dominic Mysterio this week with Carlito in his corner. The biggest moment of that match was not even in the match. It was when Braun Breaker ran down the entire rampway and shotgun speared Carlito into sudden death.
Like that man flew from a distance that shouldn't be normal. It's like he was Carlito was here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you can see my hand, it's just cause I put my other hand behind it. But like a short, like it's like almost like when you get tired as a kid and you jump into bed. That was almost the distance that he flew. And I was like, as he was flying and I was watching, and I was like, I hope this man connects this, because if he don't, he gonna hit straight into the side of the ring, and that's not going to be good. And when he connected, it almost shocked Carlito a little bit that he was jumping from that distance. You're used to them being closer and then running into each other, not flying in the air. Not even Roman Reigns can fly like that.
From an athletic standpoint, it's a crazy burst of explosion that young man has. He is following in his uncle and his daddy's footsteps. He is a genetic freak. At the end of the day, to be able to pull something like that off takes a lot of speed, a lot of tenacity, and goddamn pinpoint precision. So, big props to Braun Breaker for doing that. And then the other thing to mention about Monday night was the whole segment between Paul Heyman and CM Punk and Seth Rollins that occurred. Them continuing to build towards their WrestleMania match. It ended with Seth Rollins basically telling Paul Heyman that now Paul Heyman owed him a favor for not taking him out with a stomp like he had taken CM Punk out with a stomp. I don't know what's going on there. Now that's becoming a little bit messy.
So
Uh,
what it is that for those who don't know, CM Punk has a history with Paul Heyman.
right.
But this is the key to this. He voluntarily helped Roman Reigns for a favor. And I'm assuming he thought he was going to make it to the WrestleMania main event, maybe against Cody, and that the favor would be Paul will be in his corner. Never did he know he was not going to have that happen, but he is in a WrestleMania main event, which is weird because when we talk about this, night two is not set up. Night one is already set up to main event night one, and that Paul would be his manager in his corner. Roman Reigns didn't like that last week. It was a problem. So there's like Paul is torn between two people. And to add on to misery, Seth was going to beat him up when Punk came out, and he stomped Punk, and he leaned down and he was like, "Now you owe me a favor." So because he's like, "I could have just crushed your head in, but I didn't do it, and so now you owe me a favor." Ironically, it's not ironic, but ironically, if you're outside looking in, out of all the people who came to save him, between the two people he was initially torn with, uh, not Roman Reigns didn't come to save him. Punk did. And he sacrificed himself essentially to save Paul. And when Paul tried to return the favor, that's when Seth was like, "Okay, I see somebody came to save you, but I saved you too, so you owe me too." So now essentially it's probably going to be he now owes all three men to help them out in their corner at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns picked him up from nothingness after Brock left. CM Punk saved his life literally and is his friend and was the one who got him to stay in WWE when nobody wanted him there. And then now you got Seth who's saying, "I did not stomp your head in when I could. I saved your life. And so for that, you owe me a favor." So it's now like, who do you pick? Who do you choose? Who do you help? Because on the one hand, two of the three men are your closest friends, but they have not been as friendly with you at times. And then you have one man who is the outsider who has never done anything to you and could have just messed your whole life up and saved you from it. Who do you choose to pick to help? So essentially, Self by doing that is eliminating him helping either Reigns or Punk, and he really doesn't need his help. So he's like, it makes it an even fight now, because if Paul Heyman is a factor to one of them, that means he loses the match. So now if he's a factor to nobody, nobody really gets it's an even fight. Everybody gets a chance. I can understand why he did it, but it probably would have just better if you wanted to do it like that. Is just stomp his head in, and he wouldn't have been a factor to nobody anyway. But I'm afraid that maybe that big Brock man might be coming back, and that scares me a little bit.
I don't think that that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, this does from from a storyline perspective, this does complicate things and whatnot. I know they want to up the ante and continue to bring more drama to the surface, but I think it's just a bit too convoluted at this point. But the build to WrestleMania, as they call it, for the season that it has been post
And we still have
Royal Rumble.
3 more shows to go up to Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania Night 1 and 2.
Yeah, but for what it's been for the time being, I feel like it hasn't been great. Um, but we'll see where it all ends up before by Friday, and then we'll go from there.
As a CM Punk fan, I might get a little emotional, y'all, because this is like a lifelong dream this man has had. Like he's been like, I'm gonna do this, and it seemed like they were determined, bound and determined to screw him. And this is his first opportunity to show who he is. Also, I don't know how his entrance will be. I don't know if he's gonna go old school and think about something he thought about years ago, but I just want to see the grandeur of his entrance. Roman, we know is gonna be about a 45-minute wait. I can get up, pop me some popcorn, give me a drink, sit down and eat it, and he'll still be going out to the ring. Seth, very crazy, very unpredictable. I don't know. And I've seen some people do some good renditions, like rock renditions of his theme song that I would like to see him do in WrestleMania. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to the next show, which will have a pay per view next Saturday, right before night 1. It is NXT, ladies and gentlemen. NXT 780 on the 8th on CW. Jada Parker versus Jordan Grace ended in a no contest. We had a non title tag team match. Fraxium defeated Swipe Right. Swipe Right is Brandon Byler and Ricky Smokes. Again, I don't know about that name. I don't know if that man gonna keep that lane that long, but it's whatever. A WWE NXT North American title qualifying match. So Ruka defeated Jasmine Nix for the tag team title match. The Culling Brooks Jensen and Nico Vance defeated Hank and Tank of Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. We had Wesley defeat Inamura. I don't know how to pronounce his first name. Yoshiki.
That's right.
Okay. I was thinking I was mixing it up with some a New Japan name I heard. Uh WWE NXT Women's North American title qualifying match. Izzy Dame defeated Ren Sinclair. Dark Slate, Dark State, sorry. Cutler James, Dion Lennox, Saquon Sugars defeated Javon Evans, Obafemi, and Trick Williams. Did you see any of this, J News? And what did you think?
What stuck out to me during the show was how they're trying to shape up the contenders around the women's NXT championship. Now that they have Julia back in the fold, the reason there was a no contest to the opening match between Jada Parker and Jordan Grace was because there one obviously there wasn't a winner. Jordan Grace and Jada Parker got into it a little bit too much, and then we had appearances from Stephanie Vaquer and Julia to round out the match. Julia, quote unquote, turned her back on Stephanie Vaquer after Julia took care of business with the other two. She then gave the Northern Lights bomb to Stephanie Vaquer, basically putting herself into contendership for that NXT Women's Championship, being that she wants her rematch with Stephanie. I think that the tag team of Fraxium is still a good tag team. These young men from Swipe Right, I don't know if they're from the PC or not, but it just felt like more of a squash match than anything else. Fraxium with the win there.
I
They
think they
they
are because Dion Lennox. I think was in the ID or not the ID, might have been the show that comes on. I forgot the name. I told you I've watched like 2 episodes and it just went off. It's either one I've saw him in. It's either the ID or the D. But I've seen Deion Lennox before. The other two I can't quite remember. So they've been in WWE. It's just I think this is their opportunity to kind of
No,
step up.
I wasn't talking about Dark State. I was talking about the boys that swipe right that
Oh
were
yeah,
next to Axiom.
I've seen them in like backstage things, but never like anything important. And I'm like, you know how like sometimes you might see them as a you when you look back, you'll be like, oh, they were security or something like that. I've seen them before at WWE. I just never seen them get an opportunity to wrestle on the main stage. I think Sean is beginning to realize, normally after WrestleMania, every people move up,
Hmm.
and then people you have to bring new people in. I think he's trying to introduce people now, so later, when people move out and you have to start with new people, it's not nothing new. But I know Ricky Smokes is gonna have to change his name.
Yeah, I mean
He
we'll see how that all boils down. The North American women's thing, I think that's going to be a multi lady match at Stand and Deliver. Props to Sol Ruka for making it in. Did Zaria made it in too, right? So they're gonna have to go off against each other there, um, along with other lady participants. So I think that'll be a fun match at Stand and Deliver. They're still trying to make the culling a thing. So props to NXT for that. Wesley initially, I think, during the night came out during a promo segment that that included Ricky Starks and Brian Pillman Jr., aka Lexus King, and Eddie Thorpe, and that moment, that promo segment was a bigger deal than the match that Wesley was in, just due to the fact of what Eddie Thorpe had to say during that promo segment, which shocked not just the crowd but the people in the ring that were
Oh
with him
yeah,
during.
he went in, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, so you ain't dancing? Was it Indian DJ dancing out, walking out to the ring no more? You got some thug in you?
Yeah, that
And when
was
he said it, even West was over the corner like, I'm like,
yeah
he was
Wes
taking it back.
Wes was taken aback. He had his freaking mouth open. The jaw dropped to the floor. Even Ricky was taken aback. Ricky
Ricky,
Starks said it.
Ricky
Ricky
tried not to laugh. He was just
Yeah,
holding
Ricky
his
was
face.
like, "What the hell's going on here?" I was like, "All right, it is what it is." But
But you also have to remember this is the second time that they've had people from. At first, it was the Cody. I don't forgot who it was, where they insinuated, okay, these people left the company and they're getting a big shot. And
Mhm,
then it was Ricky. What was it? Ricky, Sean Spears, and who else? Lexus King,
mhm.
all standing there talking to each other. And it was like, oh, these people all came from AEW. But now you see that you remember West came from TNA, and then Eddie came from New Japan,
Mhm.
and then you have Lexus and Ricky coming from AEW, all standing in this ring, all having an opportunity and a good promo segment, especially Eddie actually putting out. Because when he first got in the ring, I'm like, why are you here? I mean, I know why you're here, but why are you here? I don't want to see you. I'm not connected to your character. You just lame to me. And then he went off, and I was like, oh, I like you. I kind of like you now. I see. You need to drop all the other stuff you've been doing, and this is what you need to be doing.
Yeah, I'm not too sure they can ride that wave a bit much. I feel like for the time being, there's not. For the time being, for me personally, for the time being, I haven't seen any fan backlash of what he said. But at the end of the day, people will find something to complain about online. So, it is what it is in that particular nature. But we'll see where it goes from there. I think that was probably Eddie Thorpe's spotlight moment of his career so far. If
Yeah,
we're being honest, even though he's been in a title match and everything else in between and all that jazz, like this stands out outside of him being an in-ring competitor. So maybe he can ride this wave. We'll see how it goes. Um, And yeah, I think that that's about all I have from an NXT standpoint. The last match defeated ended up with Dark State defeating the team of Javon Evans, Obafemi, and Trick Williams, because Trick Williams and Obafemi continued to fight with each other. They left Javon Evans by himself, basically, and Dark State took over and basically mollywopped Javon Evans and all that stuff while Trick and Oba kept on going on with their going on. So they're continuing that into Stand and Deliver as well. So we'll see how they continue to build Dark State and where Javon Evans ends up after all of this commotion. But
He has to turn heel. He can't always be the baby face who gets screwed over and then just be like, "Well, I'm gonna try again." You can't keep doing that for so long.
we'll see. We'll see how it goes down.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to our last WWE show for last week. It is SmackDown. Ladies and gentlemen, SmackDown was 1338 on the USA Network. It was on Friday, the 11th. Ladies and gentlemen, we start off with the WWE Women's Tag Team Title #1 Contendership Gauntlet match. Bailey and Lyra Valkyria defeated B-Fab and Michin, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter, Maxine Dupree and Natalia, the Secret Harvest of Alba Fire and Piper Niven, Pure Fusion Collective of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks. And as you see, that's how the elimination came. It seemed like Bailey and Lyra just stomped out everybody and just eliminated them one by one by one. Ladies and gentlemen, we had Ray Phoenix defeating Berto. We had a non-title match of Zelina defeating Chelsea Green by countout. That was a 1 minute match that I can't tell you why it happened. We had a non-title match of Tiffany Stratton defeating Roxanne Perez. We had LA Knight and Randy Orton defeating Solo Sokoa and Tama Tonga. Did you see any of this, J News, and what did you think?
I saw this. This led out from the Bailey versus Lyra Valkyria match from Raw. They put them in a tag team. They ended up in this gauntlet match. They defeated all the other ladies. Now Bailey and Lyra have a shot at the women's tag team titles going into WrestleMania. So congrats to them for at least being in Mania. But I don't necessarily feel. I feel like this was something that was put together last minute with the tag belt situation. Secondarily, I wasn't here last week to talk about the debut of Ray Phoenix on SmackDown. So I will say this about it. Ray Phoenix has been one of my favorite wrestlers for the last decade or so. And he had a really, really good match with Berto here on SmackDown. The only thing that I would have to say is that I understand the WWE having the budget, production, and everything else in between, and and making their wrestlers look like superstars. But to me specifically, something with Ray Phoenix's presentation feels a little off. I can't put my hand or my finger on it right now, but something about his presentation is a little off to me in contrast to his brother, to Penta's presentation, with that, which I think is fantastic, which I think the WWE has nailed. But something is a little off about Ray Phoenix's presentation, and
I
I can't
can
put my finger on it
I can tell
right
you
now.
why.
Mm.
They were grouped together. For those who haven't followed Ray and Penta through the different places they've been, Penta has been the most charismatic, outspoken one out of the two of them.
Mm.
Ray is more like, I stand here, I do my job, I don't talk, I'm not flashy, you don't see me. Even in their entrance, Penta is like up there hype, and you see Ray just over in the corner like, I'm just gonna walk down to the ring. That is how he has been all the time. Even in Lucha Underground, you saw Penta snapping arms, talking smack. That was his thing. Even in their outside interviews, that's how they are. Penta has always been the one, just like, I don't know if you remember during the press conference one time, I think it was a little kid that asked them about something Penta said about their mask being like a superpower
Mm.
or this and this and that. And his response was, I wear this mask because not because I'm ugly. I choose to wear this mask, and this is like a power. I do what I do, and I bring it to the ring. And then everybody was laughing. He's like, "Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not ugly." And like he said it, and Ray was just sitting there, just like, mm-hmm. They're like, "Ray, what'd you feel about it?" He's like, "I, I agree." And I'm like looking at him like, "Okay." So now to put him in the forefront and ask him to be charismatic and talkative and out there is something that he's uncomfortable with. You can see he's kind of like he wants it. He wants it. He said it before. He wants to be a superstar. He wants to be in the limelight. It's just that he doesn't have that swag, that charisma that his brother has.
Yeah, it's
And
a
I
different.
think he might
It's
learn
a
it, but he just hasn't had to use it.
it's different because the majority of what Ray Phoenix's popularity has come from is his in-ring work. It's never been the character work. It's never been him on the mic. Outside of him having his own catchphrase and stuff like that, at least within his career on Mexican wrestling with Animo and all that stuff, or whatever the case is, which just really means getting energy from the crowd and all that stuff. I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to get that over with the WWE crowd. So we'll see. But for right now, the projected persona of Ray Phoenix has not resonated with me as per the WWE product as of yet. So we'll see how it continues to go from there. The Zelina Vega versus Chelsea Green thing was a mistake. Um, Chelsea Green did, according to different articles written and things of that nature, she did not hear the referee make the 10 count, which is why she was counted out by mistake. The finish was supposed to be Zelina Vega getting the win regardless, but the match went much shorter than it was supposed to. It was supposed to be longer, but because Chelsea Green got counted out by mistake, they ended up with what they ended up with there. Tiffy beating Roxanne, I'm not too one. Obviously, you got to have Tiffy go in strong into WrestleMania and things of that nature. Roxanne Perez's call up to the main roster, if you want to call it that, has not been a strong one with how strongly she, in comparison to how strongly she was positioned in NXT. So I guess they're going the old route where they're going to try to rebuild these new NXT to main roster talents up again, which I think is dumb, but it is what it is in that particular estimation. I have to mention that twice during the night, Tiffany Stratton was involved in different brawls with Charlotte Flair, so they made their battles out to be more physical than on the microphone, which I think saves them right now with what's gone on in previous weeks. So this, it looks like the match is supposed to be more of a personal, uh, more intense battle going into WrestleMania. I don't dislike that, but I hope that they stay professional with what's been going on and things of that nature. So hopefully the ladies have a banger match at Mania, and then Randy Orton, due to Kevin Owens' injury, does not have a WrestleMania match. He was coaxing and poking the bear that is um, the general manager of SmackDown. Why am I forgetting his name?
Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis. There you go. He was telling Nick to give him a match, give him a match, give him a match, and even if Nick Aldis had to drop the suit and put the gear back on, Randy would take that match, and he said that he might have to apologize to Mickey James and for what he would do, what he would do to. And I said to myself, hold on a second. What is Randy saying? And then when you saw when Nick got on the microphone after Randy said that, he went into wrestler promo mode. I
Yes.
hadn't seen Nick do that in a long period of time because I've always been a fan of his, even since his days in TNA when he was Magnus. And I
I
feel
liked him with what's the girl that's in AEW now? Camille?
yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
I liked them together. That's why I said I don't think she's good by herself. But with somebody else, she's really good. And I wish she had came to WWE. They probably could have helped her more with
They
promos and different things. Because right now she seems to be like stuck in robot mode, and she just like can't get out.
we'll see how it all breaks down for her in AEW. But the Nick Aldis thing I thought was interesting. If they want to do it, I wouldn't mind it, to be quite honest, because Nick Aldis is a big match wrestler, and if Randy does need a match out of the blue, that can be something they go into. But I doubt it, because here we had LA Knight and Randy going up against the freaking uh, the Samoans and the Tongans and stuff like that. So I feel like they'll probably, I think Solo's going to have his match versus LA Knight. Randy's going to end up, or should I say, it's going to be LA Knight versus Jacob,
Jacob,
right?
yes, yeah.
So, and then Randy probably be involved with Solo Sokoa or Tama Tonga and things of that nature, or whatever the case is. Because
Or would you think that they would introduce somebody like you remember how they did that thing with Cody where they're like, "Oh, I picked somebody to go against you, Seth." That kind of thing, like where it's like a surprise will happen at WrestleMania and somebody we might have or might not expect it is coming in to face Randy since he's like Randy could do this whole like quote unquote hostile takeover. I'm not leaving the ring until I get my opponent.
they
It's not
they
fair. And then
could
somebody comes out.
something like that, but I'm not too sure if you're going to want to leave that for a big stage like WrestleMania. But they could, they really could do that.
Because
But
it's
yeah,
like you can pop for the person and be excited for WrestleMania. And then the night after WrestleMania, just want to hear their like, because ain't nobody gonna really get any talking time. Hear why they chose to come and why they chose to like take this match to target Randy, and that could be something that leads to the next pay per view.
sure, they could do that. They could definitely do something like that. I just don't, depending as to wherever they want to go, it's definitely an option. But I did like where Randy was going with Nick Aldis, so maybe they make that a thing, maybe not. But I would like to see Nick Aldis.
Because I think Aldis is clear to go.
He's
Like he
been
can,
cleared. He's been cleared for over a year and a half now, so
and
it's
he
not.
just hasn't. They
Yeah,
just haven't used him. I thought they were using him to get him as a name and a face in the
yeah.
WWE and then move
He
on.
wa- he
But
he
I
was
think they said that they are happy with him and his character. But I think it's time for them to let him be him,
he
and they kind of
hasn't.
put that strife of Aldis has played a character even in NWA where he had some power and he eventually started using it for the wrong thing, like just to make him better. So that could be something that they could play in WWE. He has this power. He starts out being the good guy, and when he turns, it's like I'm using this to get me to the top.
Yeah, I mean that definitely could be interesting. I also want to add and make sure folks are clear. Nick Aldis does not have a wrestling contract with the WWE. He is just playing a character. So as per fans like myself who would like to see Nick Aldis wrestle one more time or a couple of more times, he's ready to go. But he does not have a wrestling contract with the WWE. He does have a character role. So depending as to whatever they want to do with him in the future is up to
Yeah,
them.
and
Uh,
things can change overnight.
yeah,
Because I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
the fact that Punk can sign the contract right before he walk out into the arena is wild to me. That they still do this kind of like last minute negotiation thing.
Yeah, so that I think that'll be interesting, but we'll see as to how they turn it all around for this final week.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on to the next company, which is All Elite Wrestling AEW. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Dynamite. Dynamite was 288 on TBS HBO Max. They simulcast on the 9th. We had a non-title match. John Moxley defeated Katsuyori Shibata by referee's decision. Swerve Strickland defeated Pac. Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe, Mike Bailey, and Will Ospreay defeated crew of Action Andretti, Leo Rush, Ricochet, and the Beast Mortos. On Heart Foundation 2025 Women's Tournament quarterfinal match. Chris Statlander defeated Thunder Rosa. The Ops of Hook and Samoa Joe defeated the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli and Willa Yuta. Did you see this J News and what did you think?
I thought that the show was well put together. It was fun. I did have a slight criticism of the first match, though, the John Moxley versus Katsuyori Shibata match. I understand it was the opening match of the show, but it did feel like the ending of the match was a bit abrupt. So it came way faster than I thought that it needed to be. So after that,
Yeah, I think lately they've been having a placement problem. Even with when we're going to talk about at the end of this AEW run Dynasty, I feel like some things are placed in the wrong place.
yeah, but to finish what I was saying, I think that the opening match for this particular episode of Dynamite was short. I thought they could have kept this going. I think that Shibata one-on-one versus John Moxley could be a very, very good match placed somewhere differently on the card. So I think they should revisit this match between Shibata and Moxley at a later date. But it was stopped by referee's decision because John Moxley choked out Shibata or whatever the case is. And now we're continuing to build upon the feud that started at Dynasty. I think was Dynasty or the previous weeks. Yeah, I think it was Dynasty when the Ops came out to make the save after the match was over and things of that nature. So this continues that particular feud there. Swerve Strickland versus Pac also ended early. Unfortunately, Pac was legitimately injured during their match. During the buckle bomb spot, Pac, I believe, hurt either his foot or his ankle. There hasn't been any real news as to or any specifics said about that. Pac as a wrestler has always been very everything's always been very close to the vest with Pac, so I doubt that we'll get any specifics. So he's always protected himself personally and as a character and all that stuff, or whatever the case is. Speedy recovery to one of the best to ever do it, to be quite honest, in Pac. Swerve Strickland still came out on top in this match to continue his feud with the Death Riders and stuff like that or whatever. So we had that in the fun match of the night, this 8-man tag team match for the $400,000 or whatever the case is, where everybody on the face side, Kevin Knight, Mark Briscoe, Mike Bailey, and Will Ospreay, they cut a promo about what they would do if they were to win $100,000, and that was a funny promo. And they went up against members of Crew, which are Action Andretti and Leo Rush, Ricochet, and the Beast Mordos. Everybody in that match did their thing. Ricochet had a couple of funny spots. They did a bald spot with Ricochet where everybody slapped him in the head, which was funny. The Beast Mortos going wild, man, doing his planches and the heavy power moves and stuff like that. And Leo Rush and Andretti just moving around at light speeds. So fun match overall. It felt like a super indie match in the middle of a TV show. So that was fun to see. The quarterfinal match between Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa, I think the ladies did their thing there. They definitely had a good match. Thunder looking the best she's looked in quite some time in the ring. Chris Statlander, one of my favorites. She, in my eyes, she can never do any wrong, but she was, still doing her powerhouse thing and getting these cool moves off and stuff like that. And her and Thunder really did the thing there. And then with the Ops, Samoa Joe and Hook defeating the Death Riders of Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta in a tag match. The match ended more in an angle where the Death Riders got the upper hand over the Ops and things of that nature. There were a couple of things during the match that happened which concerned me a bit. I feel like Hook suffered some sort of an injury or maybe a concussion. He threw up in the ring at one point before He was then, I believe, neutralized into a chair by Claudio Castagnoli. So they've got to be careful with Hook
Yeah.
in future matches and stuff like that. I'm not too sure as to what happened. Some people say it's a concussion. Other people thought he just got sick during the match. I don't know what happened. Hopefully,
Listen, when
he's good
you
to
got a
go.
concussion, as some of you all know I have had, uh, listen, it does the first couple of minutes seems like, oh, okay, I'm fine. When you really feel it, that's when you feel nauseated. Now, if you've been spunked around in the ring, I would assume that would cause you to upchuck
Yeah,
because sitting still, you're already moving in a circle where you standing still. So actually spinning and flipping probably would cause you, and it probably is a concussion. They say about 2 to 3 weeks. Sometimes it'll last longer depending on how bad it is.
yeah,
Uh, but he should be fine. Uh, avoid darkness, avoid lights, avoid all things. Now, if he shows up next week,
yeah. No,
I bet.
they haven't booked for a match on Dynamite this
But
week.
it
So
depends on how quick the match is. If it's like something that he can just kind of like skate through real quick, or
yeah,
like he can show that he can function, because I got on here, I did things, I was outside, I was doing my thing. Some people it doesn't affect like that. Only when you sit down and you still is it a problem. But once you kind of get up and start moving and moving, you kind of defeat the purpose. You kind of set yourself back weeks by not sitting down and doing what you're supposed to. But
yeah.
if you can still function, they might be like, okay, well, you still functioning, ain't nothing moving, you ain't gonna upchuck in the ring again. It's great, keep it moving. And so they might let him come out and see how he does. Might be a short match, might not be like
Yeah,
20, 30 minutes of time. It's
yeah,
going to be really short and give him enough time to kind of see where he's at, and then maybe give him a break after then so it doesn't look like it's a
yeah.
problem.
That from a sports background that goes against concussion protocol for them to send him back out there this week. At this point, they have doctors on staff and things of that nature. I know that their medical staff doesn't have a great reputation, that of AEW. So if it were me, I would definitely move this match that they have booked for Dynamite. It is for the trios championships. It's the Ops versus the Death Riders.
But I would
Um,
I would say you can, it's not always the medical team sometimes. Sometimes, and I can tell from probably if Tin is here, she can scream at me. From my point of view, is that if I'm a high pain tolerance. At a certain point, I can fake it to make it to get through it. So it's like,
yeah,
oh, okay, I'm sick. How many? And they'll ask you questions. They'll test to see if you really are like. I was spinning, and at the moment she just asked me, "Oh, can you follow my?" Yeah, I can follow. Are you this? No, I'm fine. And so that's when
there's
you
there's physical protocols to go through for concussion stuff or whatever the case is.
yeah.
If he can't pass that, then the day of, I wouldn't put him out there. That's just
Or
that
you can say he got attacked
right,
backstage or something
right.
like that. Yeah.
You can always
But
sugar it up.
sometimes,
You can
like I
always,
said, I have done it, and other people have, and I've gotten after the first couple of days, I had to admit that oh yeah, this is concussion taking my behind. But you can actually, if you are high to, like if you know you can take pain, or for me, things that affect normal people don't affect me. As for AKA, I had a headache for 2 years nonstop. Never did think it was a problem until I got it checked, and then we had to get pressure removed off my brain. At that point, I don't pain doesn't phase me too much. If I'm screaming in pain, we need to call 911. After that, I'm fine. I can function. I J News knows. Before I went into emergency surgery, I was sitting up here with J News. It's a thing that I'm able to do. And some people and some wrestlers can do it where they can
yeah.
keep it pushing and
I
pass through the past tests and do all the things because they know what to expect. And so at that point, I think sometimes we are very, not we, some wrestling fans are very critical of things that happen when they find out later on that a wrestler knows and is okay with. Brian Danielson, if you watch his show with the Bellas, he literally said One time I have a concussion and they were like, Brian, don't go out there. He was like, it's a it's I think it was like a WrestleMania match or something. He was like, I have to. Don't you tell anybody. And they did all the tests with him, did all everything, and he went out and did the match, unbeknownst to now the cameraman and them could have told, but nobody told that he had this concussion. He wrestled up into the match, and then took some time off. And
Yeah,
it was like after then, that was kind of to me. I think that's a sign. Now that's why he speaks now about like protecting your brain and not
right.
going out there, not pushing yourself.
Exactly. That's really more or less my point. Like, there's no need to do all of that extra stuff unnecessarily. You're getting paid either way. It's better to be healthy than not healthy when you go out there to the ring. He's a young dude at the end of the day. They can continue this. They can continue the feud just with the members of their respective crews that are left right now. If it takes 2 to 3 weeks, then let it take 2 to 3 weeks. You don't have to be right back out there the week after just to show how tough you are. At the end of the day, there's reasons as to why there's so uh, much more in the sciences for things like concussions, more just injuries in general. When it
Yeah,
comes to pro wrestling, there's safeguards against certain things nowadays, or whatever the case is. Take advantage of the better implementation of these safety protocols, and take the week off. Chill the hell out. The
yeah,
storyline
'cause
will
if
write
you don't
itself
listen,
out.
it only puts you
And go
back.
from
You
there.
only making yourself sick. I had to learn the hard way. When you don't listen and you just like and then there were weeks where it was like I can only get up one time a day. This is not working for me. I want to feel better, so I had to just kind of shut everything down and figure it out. But once you kind of get through the first 2 or 3 weeks, everything is fine. You just gotta sit back and relax. If he does do it, I don't expect him to be wrestling a lot. And if he does get in the ring, he probably is gonna eat the pin. And
Yeah,
they're gonna say, well, he was knocked unconscious from the week before, and then they hit him again, and that's why how he got the 1, 2, 3. Or even if they would just say he was attacked backstage or attacked coming to the ring, that would just eliminate some of that. I think he's the kind of kid where he's like his dad. He's stubborn and he's gonna do it anyway, and this might be the setup for them to lose the titles if they know he's not going to just not back down, or he's going to pass protocol and still do it. So the best thing to do is just have them drop the titles and just give him a couple of weeks off.
we'll see. I mean, they're not the ops aren't the champions. The Death Riders are the champions. So at this
I mean,
point,
like,
yeah,
yeah, just not letting them win. But
yeah,
if they win, then he has to stick with this for a while, and it's not going to get any better.
yeah. They can prolong this if they need to, just for the health and safety of the young man. At the end of the day, they can just do better and do the best that you can. And I'd rather see him take a couple of weeks off and then continue the storyline outside of the ring, instead of having to put him at risk inside the ring. So just wanted to
What's their
point
next pay per view?
next pay-per-view is uh not Double or Nothing, and it's in
Oh,
the end of May. So
okay.
we'll see. They definitely got time to get there.
Yeah, if it's at the end of May, I was thinking like middle of May. I don't know why. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to the next show, which is it's up on the AEW, but it's called ROH Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was on the 10th. It was 11 1. And you can find it on ROHWrestling.com. Johnny TV and the MXM collection, Mansoor and Mason defeated Drake Daniels, Jordan Cross, and Ryan Matthews. Marina Shafir defeated Nikki XS. These weird names these new people coming up with. Tomohiro Ishii defeated Preston Vance. Non-title six-man tag match, Dustin Rhodes and the Von Erichs. Marshall and Ross Von Erich defeated Davey Bain, Dominic Gennari, and Kevin Koo. My GCW babies. From ROH World title match, Proving Ground match, we had Bandito defeat Jay Lethal. Did you see any of this, Jay News, and what did you think?
I did not see any of this. The only thing that came across to me was the main event of this show. Bandito. It was just a poster of the match of Bandito versus Jay Lethal. I was like, wow, they went right to that. That could have been his next feud. But at the end of the day, they decided to go with the match on ROH TV. Obviously, Bandito defeated Jay Lethal here, so yeah, we'll see as to where Bandito is able to take his newfound championship of the ROH World Title into I forget what their next show is going to be because it's not the Super Card of Honor because they delayed that. So we'll see how they continue to build Bandito as the ROH World Champion. But I did not watch anything on ROH.
Um, I am enjoying Tomohiro Ishii in ROH and AEW period, but I love him with ROH. Um, Bandito, I like him as champion. I'm so glad that I don't care how we got this. Now I know some of you all are mad that they restarted the match. I don't give up because you know why? Because I needed Chris Jericho to lose. I need him to lose bad. I need him to lose more than anybody needed to lose before because I got tired of seeing that man when he was on my TV. So let him be. Don't bring him back to AEW. Man, you take a break. Okay? Take a well deserved break. And that's coming from me. Because I have to watch this and I really didn't want to watch it. That's just like TNA. I don't like to watch it when TV comes on TV. But I have to watch highlights. I don't watch the match live. But it was an okay one. Um, I find it ironic that they brought Marina Shafir back down. She's done, I think this is the second or third one she's done. And it's like, I don't think she really needs any kind of like, Nikki wasn't that great. She didn't need a boost. So, what was this match for? It was just a waste of my time. So, I think sometimes we can have a banger ROH match or we can have one banger match, but it's always something off about it. It's never like cohesive. And so that's what irritates me. But I watch it and I would think the Bandito match would be the good match to watch. The Tomohiro Ishii match wasn't that great, but I just enjoy watching him wrestle, so that might be a second option. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go on to AEW Collision. I think it was 88. Yes, on TNT, HBO Max, they simulcast. Owen Hart Foundation 2025 Women's Tournament Quarterfinal Match. Jamie Hayter defeated Billy Starks. Gates of Agony. Bishop Kong and Toa Leona defeated Smash and Burn. Sorry, Smash and Burn of Junie Underwood and Ricky Price. We had Anthony Barnes defeat Blake Christian. 2-on-1 handicap match. Megan Bain defeated Kelly Madan and LMK. Kevin Knight defeated AR Fox. FTR defeated Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. On Heart uh, Foundation 2025 Women's Tournament quarterfinal match. Athena defeated Harley Cameron. In the On Heart Foundation tournament quarterfinal match, men's tournament, it was Konosuke Takeshita defeating Brody King. Did you see this J News and what did you think?
Saw all of this last night. I thought this was one hell of a show. Jamie Hayter and Billy Starks pulling out all the stops during their match. Billy Starks is a crazy ass young lady, is all I have to say about that. She has a bright future in professional wrestling, but at the end of the day, some of her spots, the spots that she be taking out there, some of these bumps she be taking out there, woof, girl, you're too young. You're just too young. But anyways, great showing for both Jamie Hayter and Billy Starks. Jamie Hayter goes on. The Gates of Agony got a cheap win here in a squash match between two guys that they're probably local to the scene. After the fact, the Gates of Agony cut a short promo in the back, basically challenging the Hurt Syndicate to a match for their tag team championships on Dynamite. So we will see if that match actually gets officially put onto Dynamite, because it didn't as of last night. So we'll see. But the Gates of Agony have challenged the Hurt Syndicate. Anthony Bowens continuing his road into his singles run here. He had a tremendous match with Blake Christian. Blake Christian continues to impress on AEW TV. The Vanilla Baby doing his damn thing. So I got to give him credit where credit is due. But AEW is definitely trying to do something with Anthony Bowens, and we'll see as to where AEW takes the singles run of Anthony Bowens going forward. The 2-on-1 handicap match is exactly what it was. It was another squash match for Megan Bayne, just showing off how powerful and how skilled she is. Megan Bayne moves around that ring like nobody's business, and she is hella strong for it. She's just, man, she's she's out there doing some things that I haven't seen in quite some time. But she's super athletic at that, and she has a very diverse set of moves that puts her into a different stratosphere when it comes to these powerhouse women's wrestlers. Then Kevin Knight had his match versus AR Fox. Shouts to AR Fox for all the TV time he's been getting as of late. AEW finally finding some good use for Fox, having these highly competitive matches with the people that he's in there with. I thought that this match was going to be a banger match when it got announced, and it did not disappoint. Kevin Knight, AR Fox putting it down, tearing the house down. Good for those guys. Kevin Knight finally getting his first singles win on AEW TV, so that was a good showing for Kevin Knight and AR Fox there. FTR being the main storyline focus that drove the show. They opened the show cutting a promo, basically explaining as to why they turned on Adam Copeland. They then switched their attention over to Tony Schiavone for a bit, because Tony Schiavone had something negative to say about how disappointed he was on commentary about FTR during the previous episode of Dynamite. They tried to then do the tandem pile driver off the second rope. Nigel McGuinness had to step in and save Tony Schiavone. I still want to see Nigel in the ring. Give me some more Nigel in the ring. But Nigel just came in to save Tony Schiavone and get FTR off of Tony. For the save after Nigel came in, I believe we saw 2.0, the gentleman of Daddy Magic and Angelo Parker make their presence felt in a backstage interview with Lexi Nair, basically challenging FTR to a match on Collision that went down, which is the match that happened here. It was basically a beatdown. FTR beat down Angelo Parker and Matt Menard. They busted open Matt Menard, and they did some really vicious things to Matt Menard and Angelo Parker. Daniel Garcia tried to make the save for Angelo Parker and Matt Menard, but to no avail. FTR also committed to trying to drown out Daniel Garcia, but then the members of, I forget what the new group name is, but the members of the Undisputed Kingdom, formerly known as the Undisputed Kingdom, they came out and made the save, and they were able to save Daniel Garcia from any further harm. And then the ladies, again, they did the damn thing. Athena and Harley Cameron, another very, very strong showing for Harley Cameron, especially in the ring with Athena, who is one of the best to ever do it. She stood her ground. She was able to hang in there. Athena eventually gets the win, and she goes on to face Mercedes Moné at Dynamite in Boston. So we'll have that semifinal match coming down at Dynamite. And then Konosuke Takeshita and Brody King, those two beefy boys, just brought it to one another, having one of those classic Kings Road style matches in there, with Takeshita coming out with the win over Brody King. I've stated it here before. I'll state it again. I feel like Brody King taking as many losses as he takes is unnecessary, just because of first of all, his body of work. Secondly, just his look. And then thirdly, he's a badass, man. So like Brody taking all these goddamn pins and these losses, I think is unnecessary. But you know, Tony Khan's gonna Tony Khan. at the end of the day. And Takeshita's still looking good, man. Coming off of, I think the episode was live for Collision on Saturday night. Takeshita coming off that win
Yeah, it
uh,
was.
from from Windy City Riot in Chicago, where he basically got the all-time rub from the one and only Hiroshi Tanahashi. So Takeshita riding high and continuing to do great things and have great matches, and we'll see how it all ends up here at the Owen Hart tournament for Takeshita. But another strong match to end the show, another strong collision for AEW.
I really did like it. It was over, like I said, it was cohesive. I need them to do that in ROH. But we'll talk about Mercedes is out here working. She out here working, because she'll be coming up working in Rev Pro next week. Ladies and gentlemen, we're off to the pay-per-view that happened for AEW last week since we came on before it. It was AEW and it was AEW Dynasty. I like to say that like that because I feel like I'm back in the old TV show Dynasty. Who shot JR? No, I'm sorry. AEW Dynasty 2025 Zero Hour, which was on YouTube. You can go back and watch it. We had Crew, Action Andrade, and Leo Rush, along with Nick Wayne, defeat AR Fox and Top Flight of Dante and Darius Martin. We have Max Caster last week. Remember, we didn't know who he was going to be facing. He ended up facing Anthony Bowens, accompanied by Billy Gunn, and Anthony Bowens defeated Max Caster in 40 seconds. We're on to the show, which happened on, you can get it on Triller TV or your local pay-per-view provider. Owen Hart Foundation 2025 men's quarterfinal match, Will Ospreay defeated Kevin Knight. In the AEW World Tag Team match, the Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin defeated the Learning Tree of Big Bill and Brian Keith. In the Owen Hart Foundation 2025 Women's Tournament quarterfinal match, Mercedes Moné defeated Julia Hart. AEW Trios title, it was Death Riders, Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, and Willa Yuta defeating Rated FTR of Cash Wheeler, Cope, and Dax Hardwood. AEW World Title Match, Women's World Title Match. Toni Storm defeated Megan Bain. On Hart Foundation 2025 Men's Tournament quarterfinal match, Kyle Fletcher defeated Mark Briscoe. In an ROH title versus mask match, we had Bandito defeat Chris Jericho. AEW TNT title no time limits match. Adam Cole defeated Daniel Garcia in a title change. AEW International title three-way match. Kenny Omega defeated Mike Bailey and Ricochet. AEW World title match. Jon Moxley defeated uh, with Marina Shafir in his corner defeated Swerve Strickland, who had Prince Nana in his corner. J News, I know you saw this. What did you think of this entire show?
I thought that the show overall was a very good show. I was with the majority of the internet fans with the ending of the show. I was not a fan of it. I understand it from a storytelling perspective. I get it. I know where the connection lies. I have an intimation as to where they're gonna go with it per se. They did continue to outline how the story is going to go with the Bucks having their promo bit on Dynamite. But to end the show, basically the Young Bucks came out of the blue and they interfered in the match. They did the EVP trigger on Strickland. I thought that the match itself, the match between Moxley and Swerve Strickland, was a better match than what they had previously. But then it started to get overbooked with all of the different talents getting involved in the match and things of that nature. So we're continuing down this line, and I don't necessarily know where it's going to go, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, the reason I didn't like it was, one, because it was overbooked. Two, they're still continuing with the Death Rider storyline, which I thought got stale long ago. But obviously, the creative team at AEW, along with Tony Khan, has a plan that they have a story that they want to finish with this whole Death Riders thing, and now with the EVPs being involved in all this stuff or getting themselves involved, continues to extend this storyline. So there's that aspect of it, but the rest of the show was really, really good. The match of the night was a triple threat match between Kenny Omega, Mike Bailey, and Ricochet. One hell of a match there. I really liked the match between Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia. Got Adam Cole now as the new TNT champion. I thought it was a decent run for Daniel Garcia that he had with the TNT title on Collision, and the storylines made all the sense in the world because they're still leaning into Danny being a young wrestler and not necessarily making the best decisions. So that's more or less the story they're continuing to tell there. And there was that. So Bandito versus Chris Jericho, I thought the ending of it was dumb. If I'm being honest, the match was not that bad. The match itself, the first fall of it was not that bad. But yet again, for months now, I've been screaming for Chris Jericho to get off of my TV. He doesn't have to. I'm not one of those people. Oh, Chris Jericho should retire. Nah, like, dude, go take a break. Now he's due for a break. He's going on tour with Fozzy. He won't be on TV for a bit.
I hope
Or
that
whatever.
tour is a whole lifetime because I'm tired of
So,
seeing that man. I'm tired. And then the moment that he lost the title, and then he said something, I don't forgot what he said to an interview or somebody. And then they were like, Chris Jericho thinks he's going to come back. He might come back and end his career in WWE. I said, son of a, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't
so
you do it.
we will
Don't you do it.
we'll see, but he'll be off of TV for a couple of weeks at least due to his tour with Fozzy and things of that nature. So hopefully him being off of TV will give the fans the ability to miss him, which is more or less what he's been needing. And I would dare to say the same thing about John Moxley. They're not on the same sphere. People are not asking for Moxley to retire. I think everybody respects and loves John Moxley for what he's done, but with the current storyline that he's been in, not
Trash.
working to the like of the majority of the wrestling fans on the internet and things of that nature. I include myself in that. It's more or less like less is more at this point. Take a break. It's been a while where he was supposed to take a break and all that stuff. I know it's been reported that he's been slated to have a long title run and things of that nature. And then there was a phrase used that he's playing 5D chess with the AEW fans, and the AEW fans not liking the storyline is what they want necessarily because it gives them more heat. And I think I mean from not I think from that vantage point, from that perspective, I understand what that report was saying, but at the same time, you do also have to understand that the dislike from a wrestling fan has never necessarily been from the pocket of it being genuine where folks don't want to see you. It's more or less like we understand who the character is, what the story is. We get you're the bad guy, so we're gonna boo you for being the bad guy. And what's been happening, the storyline just hasn't resonated with folks from the Death Riders perspective, and not all of it has gone in a way where folks are going to land on either side of it. So I just wanted to say that about it. The Death Riders thing in the three-way match, Claudio, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta defeating Rated FTR. That's where FTR turned on Cope at the end of the match for after losing the specific match. Mercedes Moné versus Julia Hart was a good match, another strong showing for Julia Hart. It started out a little clunky, but then the girls they were able to get their bearings during the match there, and Julia and Mercedes did their thing, and Mercedes came out with the win. Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe was, to me, to use a term, was off the hook. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe are together when they're in that ring. They're like wrestling soulmates. I can watch them wrestle forever. So I thought that was a strong match, and I thought that the opening match on the 0 hour between Crew and all those boys from Top Flight and AR Fox and all them and Nick Wayne. I thought that was a strong match for everybody involved. So shouts to the boys for putting on a good banger of an opener match on the 0 hour. And then obviously we saw the return of Anthony Bowens there where he beat Max Caster. So we'll see as to where Max Caster's character continues to go from here. Does he continue his open challenge for the best against the best wrestler alive, or does he pivot and do something different? We'll see. But Max Caster's character has been a breath of fresh air for him. It's given him a new direction, regardless of the fact that he's losing or not. It just provides more depth to his character. So good on Max Caster. Good on Anthony Bowens for his return and things of that nature. And we'll see as to where everybody goes. That was basically the breakdown for me coming to Dynasty.
Yes, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Um, I also put Jeff Jarrett in it. You can take a break. Tired of seeing you and your guitar. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on to TNA Wrestling. Total non-stop action. And we're on day 10 on 1018 episode, 1081, sorry, episode on Access TV. Like I've said it before, you go to sleep on Access TV, you'll wake up to a rock band. Ace Austin defeated Mustafa Ali by DQ. Non-title match: Cody Deaner versus Moose. Nope, sorry. Excuse me. Thinking about something else. Metaphor: Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend defeated Spitfire of Danny Luna and Jody Threat. Non-title tag team match: The Hardys, Jeff and Matt Hardy, defeated the Great Hands of Jason Hotch and John Schuyler. And Fatal Influence: JC Jane and Jasmine Nix, along with TB, defeated Lee Ying Lee and Masha Slamovich and Zaya Brookslide. Jay News, did you see any of this, and what did you think?
No.
And I would say that was that yeah. I saw it, and I'm gonna say it's some of these people need a little bit of extra work, and some of these people who need extra work have been doing this for a while. And with that being said, I'm gonna say I wouldn't waste my time on this. Okay, so we're gonna go on to the next episode. Not episode of this. Thank you God that we're going on to somebody new for us. We've talked about them a couple of times, but we're going to be covering them from now on. They're called Prestige Wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, Prestige Wrestling had Roseland, and it was on yesterday. And guess where you can find Prestige, ladies and gentlemen? For those who wonder, how can I find this wrestling? Prestige is on YouTube. YouTube. Hey, Carol the Girl Miniature. Hold on. Hey, Carol the Girl Miniature. Let me put it like this. There we go. Love you. She called you Johnny. Okay, ladies and gentlemen.
The only person in this lifetime that's ever called me Johnny was my grandfather. So I'll take that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roseland was on yesterday on YouTube. You can go back and watch it. I really do like this company because they have some great, not great, but good matches. Some people are a little bit learning, some people are advanced, but I enjoyed this show itself yesterday. Kevin Blackwood defeated KZY. We had West Coast Pro Tag Team Championships. The Crush Boys of Titus Alexander and Starboy Charlie defeated Trevor Lee and Andrew Everett to retain their championships. We had Ethan HD, and that's a J News word, Susumu.
Yeah, Susumu Yokosuka.
There you go. And Ho Ho Ling. Now I know how to say that. And Ishin.
Yes.
Uh, they had a thing. Okay, we not even gonna talk about that. AZM defeated Hanan. Hanan, that's how you pronounce her name.
Azumi.
Hazumi.
Azumi. Azumi
I
defeated
don't,
Hyan.
I don't know why I keep calling her AZM after she done told us to call her Azumi. The Rascals defeated Sinner and Saint. We had a dog collar match of Elliot Tyler defeating Drexel. Prestige Tag Team Championships. It was Midnight Heat, Eddie Pearl and Ricky Gibson defeating Ultra Power to win the Prestige Championship. Zack Sabre Jr. Go back and Zack Sabre Jr. I said defeated Matt Brennan. I really like this because I love when Zack Sabre Jr. pretzels everybody. But my next match, that was my match. Tomohiro Ishii defeated Calvin Tankman. If you have not seen Calvin Tankman, that is a big, big, big man. And they was out here rumbling in the jungle, J News. Gotta go back and watch that. Prestige Wrestling World Championship, Alan Angels defeated Timothy Thatcher to retain his championship. That was the show, and that was so good. Also, ladies and gentlemen, before I get into this company, I want to pull myself and J News aside because it came out on GCW's social media. I would like to send my condolences to dog. I just lost his name. The head, not the head of GCW, the wrestler.
Oh, Nick Gage's wife, right? I think.
Yeah, Nick Gage's wife that passed away.
Mm.
It was so sad. I felt so sad, and I was like, because she's been at ringside, we've seen her behind the scenes of different things, and she kind of was. They were kind of getting their life together, and then now this happens. I hope Nick is in a better, is in a state of mind where he can control a lot of the things that has been haunting him for the past few years. So, sending my condolences to Nick Gage. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get into GCW. We're gonna get into a lot of them, but this is the show from last week. On the 6th, we have GCW uh, Philly Special. Okay, they did turn it upside down. Wasted Youth, Austin Luke and Dylan McKay defeated Miracle Generation of Dustin Wallen and Kylan King. Zeta Steele defeated Ashley Vox. Jonathan Gresham, go back and watch this match of Jonathan Gresham. Oh, there we go. There we go. Go back. Jonathan Gresham defeated Marcus Mathers. For the GCW Ultraviolet title hardcore match, Matt Tremont defeated Ruckus. 5-way scramble match. Fuego del Sol defeated Brandon Toole, Griffin McCoy, Jimmy Lloyd, and Wes Barkley. GCW World title match. Effie defeated Tony Deppen. Breaker Morant defeated Richard Holiday. Death match. Slade defeated Bam Sullivan. I think my favorite parts of the match, anytime I see Effie, I know there's some crazy stuff about to go down. Sorry. And I also love the Jonathan Gresham match because it seemed like he's been in the zone lately. And I cannot wait to him to get to something more major than TNA. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for J News. Time for J News and the New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yeah, we're gonna go into Windy City Riot that happened on Friday night, April 11th, live in Chicago. We had it was an additional 19.99, which is also always a pain in the ass on NewJapanWorld.com. But the show itself was solid overall. We had the strong survivor match. The strong survivor, the man who owns the title, Zane J, representing both dojos, both the NJPW Academy and also the No Gay Dojo, defeated CJ Tino. We then had the main card start. We had TJP, Mr. Perkins of the United Empire defeating Tom Lawler in their match. In New Japan Strong Women's Title #1 contendership match, we had Azumi and Mina Shirakawa end in a double countout. That then had El Presidente, Hiroshi Tanahashi, had to make a decision. Rocky Romero cemented the decision, which will have Azumi and Mina Shirakawa along with Mercedes Moné at New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence coming up in May in a triple threat match for that strong women's title. We then have the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team title match, which had the world class wrecking crew, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs, as champions, defeating the intergalactic jet setters of Kevin Knight and Kushida. We then had the NJPW Strong Openweight title 30-minute Iron Man match. Tomohiro Ishii defeated Gabe Kidd in that in that match. But as it broke down, Gabe Kidd was able to get a pin over Tomohiro Ishii first. Tomohiro Ishii was then able to get a pin over Gabe Kidd, and then Tomohiro Ishii eventually and essentially defeated Gabe Kidd in their match in that last fall, making Tomohiro Ishii the New Japan Strong Openweight champion. That to me was very surprising. I did not think that was going to happen. The way that it happened, I really wasn't thinking that New Japan was going to take the belt off of Gabe Kidd with how hot Gabe Kidd has been. But hopefully, this means that Gabe Kidd can walk into a new program on New Japan proper over in Japan and get a title shot there, and not necessarily the never openweight six-man championships. I'm talking about get a shot maybe at the New Japan World TV Championship or the Global Heavyweight Championship, or maybe get back into the never openweight championship. Gabe needs to be spotlighted in New Japan because he's one of their best, if not their best, talent on TV right now. Los Cinco Bananas de Japón, Tetsuya Naito and Titan defeated El Fantasma and Rocky Romero. Zack Sabre Jr. went ahead and defeated David Finlay in a fun match. For the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, we had Hiroki Goto, the champion, defeat Shota Umino in a match that we kind of saw coming at the end of the day. And then in a non-title match, we had the never openweight champion Konosuke Takeshita going on in a special singles non-title match, going one-on-one against the president Hiroshi Tanahashi, who is currently on his retirement tour. They gave us all the feels, all the ups and downs, emotional, physical, things of that nature. But Takeshita getting the win here, Tanahashi basically approving of the new ace that is Konosuke Takeshita. Good emotional battle here. Hiroshi Tanahashi was able to end the show, and with a lot of respect, was able to say his good. Should I say he was able to say his goodbyes to the Chicago crowd. This being his last match in the U.S. So great showing for Tanahashi, even in his current state of health and shape that he's in. Incredible match, man, and yeah, props to everybody on the show for Windy City Riot, and yeah.
Yes, everybody. We're about to go into previews, and I'm going to take a deep breath when I say this. The shows that we're going to be previewing first happens during Mania weekend. I nor I don't think anybody that I know of, not Trivia Heat, not Workers Wrestling Network, will be doing those shows. Well, Workers Wrestling, I don't know, but we won't be doing those shows live. The second half, once we hit the slide that says Mania, will be everything that I will be doing during WrestleMania weekend, which starts for me um, Wednesday to Sunday. Monday I have the After Mania Raw watch along, and then Tuesday me and J News come on at 1 o'clock. So actually Tuesday I'm on Workers Wrestling Network, so we'll talk about that. From Tuesday to Tuesday, you'll see me on some of your screens everywhere. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's time for the preview. Time to look in the future. What do I see? I see a lot of work and less rest for me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna start off with Defy. This is a show that I won't be watching live, but I do have to watch. I'll probably watch it on Monday. It's called Defy Streets of Rage. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Randy Myers versus Miles DeVille. C4, Cody Chan and Guillermo Rosas versus Ho Ho Lin and Ishan versus Midnight Heat, Eddie Pearl and Ricky Gibson. El Phantasmo versus Mance Warner. The match I'm looking forward to. Gabe Kidd versus Calvin Tankman. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Timothy Thatcher. For the Defy Tag Team title match, Sinner and Saint, Judas Icarus and Travis Williams versus KZY and Sasu
Susumu Susumu Yokosuka.
Yokosuda. See, ladies and gentlemen, on the 17th is TNA. TNA is having a pay per view. There's on TNA Plus called Unbreakable. We will have Mustafa Ali, Nick Nemeth, Ryan Nemeth versus Mike Santana and the Hardys of Jeff and Matt Hardy. Barbed Wire Massacre, Sammy Callahan versus Matt Warner. For the TNA International title three-way match, Eddie Edwards versus Steve Macklin versus Ace Austin. TNA International title tournament three-way match, Eric Young, JDC, and Zachary Ritz are facing off against each other. For the TNA International title final three-way match for the vacant title, AJ Francis versus two more people we don't know of yet. Frankie Kazarian and TB versus Joe Henry and Masa Slamovich. Ladies and gentlemen, also on the 17th. 17th is a hot day for everybody. It's Prestige, Nothing to Lose. And if you do not remember, ladies and gentlemen, Prestige is a show that you can watch here on YouTube for free. Nothing to Lose. It'll be on at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna watch it live, but I'm definitely gonna have to watch it later on. So if you want to watch it and we all talk about it, that's great. Yeah, J News, listen, I always tell Gabe Kid, call me. Uh Prestige, Nothing to Lose. Ares, El Hijo del
Dr. Wagner Jr.
yes.
Mhm.
Why did you know what I was thinking about?
Hmm.
El Hijo del Ven, you know what I'm talking
Oh,
about.
Vikingo? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about until I saw the Dr. Ragnar. I was like, hold on now.
Mm-hmm.
And Galeno Del Mar versus Z-Brats of Ishin, Kota Minora,
Mm-hmm.
and Sean Skywalker. Drexel, Matt Brennan, and Ultra Power of Amira and Jaden versus Evan Rivers, Tay Mayfields, Vaughn Vertigo, and Zaya Brookshot. John Cruz versus Bodie Young Prodigy. Kylie Ray and Nicole Matthews versus the inspiration of Cassie Lee and Jesse McKay. El Phantasmo versus Michael Oku. Can't wait for that match. Lycos Gym, Kid Lycos and Kid Lycos II versus Sinner and Saint of Judas Icarus and Travis Williams. Minoru Suzuki versus Adam Priest. Kevin Blackwood versus Leon Slater. These other shows that I'm about to show you do not have anything listed as of now. So we're going to tell you about Stardom. They have two shows that weekend. We have the American Dream 2025. That's for both shows, but we have different things, which on the 17th will be the Sin City one. And on the 18th, it will be Neon City. Okay. Now we're into Rev Pro. Rev Pro can be seen on RevProDemand.com or the app. It's called Rev Pro High Stakes. We have a women's Revolution Gauntlet match. Charlie Evans versus LA Taylor versus Anita Vaughn versus mystery opponent. RKJ versus Donovan Dajak. For the Rev Pro Undisputed British Heavyweight title match, Michael Oku, the champion, versus Leon Slater. For the Rev Pro Undisputed British Women's title, we have Mercedes Monet versus J News.
It's Kenji.
I don't know why I keep spelling her, like I keep saying her name wrong. I'd be like, can't, like, listen, it's the country MJ News. I'd be trying to jump out. I'd be like, Kanji.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'd be
Oh,
wanting to
yeah.
say it like that. And I'm like, don't be country. Don't be country, Dolores. Listen, also, I want to tell you about New Japan. They don't have anything listed, but I'm going to tell you about the shows that it will be happening. Road to Wrestling Dontaku, sorry. 2025, they have a show on the 19th, the 21st, and the 22nd. That is during the week that we cover from Sunday to Tuesday. Uh, Also, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to preview my week of mania. Lord help me. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Here we here we go. Here we go. That's what they say. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna start off with 8 o'clock. And we're gonna start off on the 16th, ladies and gentlemen, at 8 o'clock at, let me pull it up. It's GCW presents the ID Championship Tournament. I'm trying to pull up the whole schedule so I can make sure I can tell you all the times right. Because once I put it in there, I sit it and forget it. J News. And so we'll be watching along here, and it is, you can watch all these shows except for the WWE ones on Trilla TV. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you were with me last year, if you have Trilla TV, they normally give you a free week trial if you've never had them during Mania week. So try it. If not, $10, you get all the wrestling, all the weird sports, all the things you want to see all in one place. Izzy Moreno versus Zara Zakir. Jason Drake and Swipe Right of see, that's why I saw them. Swipe Right, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes versus Cappuccino Jones, Jack Cartwright, and Sean Legacy. For the WWE ID Women's Title Tournament first round match, we have Kaylee Ray versus Zeta Steele. For the WWE ID Men's Title Tournament first round match, we have Freedom Mace Ramsey versus Jordan Oasis. For the WWE ID Men's Title first round match, we have Aaron, I'm gonna mess your last name up, versus Gal, Gal. That's how you say it. WWE ID Men's Title Tournament first round three-way match. Atticus Cougar versus Ice Williams versus Aaron Roberts. WWE ID Men's Title Tournament first round no disqualification match. Marcus Mathers versus Sam Holloway. Okay. So that is going to be on 8 o'clock. You can come with me again. All these shows, I know that you all do not necessarily watch wrestling, so we'll be having games, having fun, doing all the things that have to do with just having together. Okay. So the next show is Dragon Gate USA, and that show is Rebirth. Yes, J News. They decided they were gonna have some extra shows on here. And if I remember right, J News, that comes on at 11. Let me double check. Let me double check. Trying to pull it up. It just disappeared on me. We're just gonna say 11. You know what, J News? I'm slow. You know how I could have found this out quicker? Go to my lives. They already set up. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, Rebirth is at 8 p.m. and the ID show is at 4 p.m. So 4 p.m. is ID. This show is at 8 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, Dragon Gate will be on Triller TV. Ho Ho Lin versus Maddox. Severin versus El Cookie. That's how you pronounce that, Jeanette?
I believe. Yeah.
So La Estrella and Ultimo Dragon. Rich Swan and Willie Mack versus Ben K. Hayo versus Garbage Daddies. We have KZY versus Marcus Mathers. Neo Genesis, AZM, and Starlight Kid versus Hate of Konami and
Natsuko Tora.
Natsuko. Listen, I'm gonna be fighting for my life, J News. I'm gonna be like, I wish J News was here. Z-Brats, Ishin and Kota Minoura,
Mm-hmm.
and Sean Skywalker versus Paradox, Dragon Kid,
Susumu
Yokosura.
Yokosuka and Yamato.
Yeah. It's easy when I hear J News say it to repeat it. And it's also during the live easy for them to say it in my ear and then me repeat it than me to just say it in the first place. Uh the that is at 8 p.m. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be going on to Defy. And Defy show comes on the 17th at 3. Nope, sorry. Thinking about the other show. This show comes on at 11 p.m. I mean 11 a.m. Sorry, 11 a.m. That tells you my time's messed up. So we're gonna see how this makes out. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the Defy show, we'll be having also on Trailer TV the Bollywood Boys Gerv and Harv Shearer, along with Galeno Del Mal versus C4 and Negro Casas, right? I think I pronounced that right for J
Yep,
News.
you got it.
Liza Hall, Nicole Matthews, Riho versus Amira, Vert Vixen, Viva Van. Triple threat match: El Phantasmo versus Clark Connors versus Man Like Doris. The Rock and Roll Express. Yes, I said it. Flashback Rock and Roll Express. Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson versus the Midnight Heat of Eddie Pearl and Ricky Gibson. The 5 tag team title match. Center and Saint, Judas Icarus and Travis Williams versus Lycos Gym of Kid Lycos and Kid Lycos II versus Hayo and Yokosuka. Yes. Evil, 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 no. Versus Michael Oku. Michael, I hope you just crush this man. Kenta versus Mance Warner. Oh yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I ain't finished. WrestleCon is also on Triller TV, also on the 17th. And ladies and gentlemen, that show is at 3 p.m. I'll be doing a watch along for that. It's the Super Show. Okay, make sure be there, be square. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the shows that the matches that will be happening on the Super Show. We have a 10-man tag team match. Nothing has been listed yet. We have Ninja Mac versus Mascara Dorada. We have Flip Gordon, Hechicero, Michael Oku versus TMDK, Bad Dude Tito, Shane Hayes, and Zack Sabre Jr. We have a singles match, but with a special referee, Dan Severin. I know you ain't seen him in a while, but that man's back. It's gonna be Minoru Suzuki versus somebody you ain't seen in a while, Butterbean. He coming back. Mickey James versus Maki Ito. I cannot wait for this show, and especially these last 3 matches. Okay, that's J News. I'm gonna be excited when I come in here. Ladies and gentlemen, we're on back to GCW, and GCW is having a show. Go on over. Blood sport, ladies and gentlemen. If you ain't been in blood sport, we ain't had no real blood in a long time in blood sport. But it's at 8 p.m. You can catch me there doing a watch along again. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the matches listed for blood sport as of now. We have Royce Isaacs versus Tavian Heights, Shayna Baszler versus Kunami, Josh Barnett versus Gabe Kidd. Can't wait for that. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jonathan Gresham. Junior
J.R. Kratos.
Kratos. Listen, that man right there. As much as I see him, you know, and I see him a lot on, I should know his name by now. Karrion Cross. That's going to be interesting. Mika versus Carmen Petrovich. Charlie Dempsey versus Aoki.
Yeah, Shinya Aoki.
Shinya Aoki.
Mhm.
I got the last name right. Natty Nightheart. That's what she's gonna go by this time when she hits that stage. Versus Yamashita. Layla Hirsch versus Jordan Blade. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna catch the next show, Progress. And guess when Progress comes on, ladies and gentlemen? Don't hurt your feelings. It's gonna be on midnight. They say 11:57, 11:59. I'm like, give me the extra minute, okay? On the same day, on the 18th, it's going to be Progress. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the shows, the matches that will be happening on Progress Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. Don't hurt yourself. Minoru Suzuki versus Kara Noir. WXW Unified World Wrestling Title three-way match. One Carl Manders, Tay Mayfield, and Marcus Mathers all will be facing each other. Progress Pro Titus match. Simon Miller will face Effie, Adam Priest, Charles Crowley, Paul Walter Hauser. Progress Lattice title match. It'll be Axel Tischer versus Mike D. Lycos Gym is Lycos a kid, Lycos the second. They wrestling every day, it seems like. Versus Boisterous Behavior of Leon Slater and Man Like Doris. We have the Progress Women's Title three-way match. Nina Samuels versus Riho versus Vert Vixen. I can't wait for that. Progress title match. Luke Jacobs versus Michael Oku. J News, did any of these matches, strike you a little bit?
The only match that I really want to watch and see out of everything that's there is the Suzuki versus Kara Noir match. Because I've taken a vested interest in Kara Noir over the years, so I've only seen him in like a match or two since he's come back from injury. So when I saw the promo come up for him having that match versus Suzuki, I was like, okay, this is going to be a test for him. So hopefully, he's able to pass with flying colors and he's able um, to do bigger and better things going into the rest of 2025 because he was on top of the game for a while there in the UK indie scene before his injury. So I would like to see him regain that status.
Ladies and gentlemen, 11 a.m. I will be watching TJPW live in Las Vegas on the 18th. Jesus Christ. Uh, let's go. We have Endo versus Yuki Aria.
Yeah, Arisu Endo versus Yuki Arai. You'll then have another singles match is going to be Mayu Watanabe versus Masha Slamovich. You'll then have a tag match of Maki Ito and Zara Zakher versus Max the Impaler and Palm Harajuku. In the International Princess title match, we're going to have Suzumi the champion versus Jada Stone. In the Princess tag team match, we're going to have Kiyo Raku Kiyome, Hyper Misao, and Shoko Nakajima, the champions, versus Wakana Urahara and Yuki Kamifuku. We then have the Princess of Princess title match, which is going to have the champion Mizuki go one-on-one versus Mayu Yamashita.
Thank you, J News. Because
Mhm.
even when you start fighting for your life, I was like, hey, we all fight. Ladies and gentlemen, next show up will be DDT at 3 p.m. I'm tired looking at this. 3 p.m. It'll be a watch along for the DDT show. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll have the WXW United World Wrestling title match. One Commanders versus Yukio.
Yeah, Yuki Onaya.
Yep. We have Antonio Honda versus my man, like 100 grand, Santana Jackson. Listen, Santana done got engaged since we last saw him and everything. He up here willing and dealing and still moonwalking on people. Timothy Thatcher versus Sheena
Shinya. Hey,
Shinya
mhm,
Aoki.
mhm.
Gringo Loco, Marcus Mathers, Tyler Bateman versus
Kazuma
Kazumi
Sumi. Yeah.
Kazuma Sumi, Nick Wayne, and Shuma
Katsuma.
Katsuya.
Mhm.
Konosuke Takeshita versus Mao. DDT Universal Title Match. Minoru Suzuki, the champion, versus Yokoshi.
Yoshihiko.
That's my friend. I'm sorry, but if you all haven't went to last year, Ruby was disturbed that I really was happy that this dog was kicking butt in this match. And if you see me next week, I'm gonna be excited again because that's my girl. She up and kicking butt. Can't nobody tell me she ain't real. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're on to GCW, and GCW is going to be having a wonderful, wonderful show. J News, and you know what it's called? It's called The Hills Have. That went too far. Y'all just went too far. Y'all just gonna do me like that? Do me like that? There we go. It's gonna no. It just went too far. Okay, listen. We gonna do The Hills Have Eyes. Unless it just skipped over it or something. Hold on. Maybe it just went over it. Because I know this morning the slides were acting a fool. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. There is a show before it. Sorry. Sorry. That was on me. We have Joy Janela, which somehow I didn't set up. Joy Janela comes on right before. I think it comes on at 8. Spring Break 9, watch along. And these are the people in the matches in the show. It'll be the senior scramble. That's what he called it, Jay Dudes, the senior scramble. Doug Gilbert versus Tommy Rich versus Ricky Morton versus the Warlord versus George South versus Mike Jackson. He put all the old people in the match, Jay News, and just said it's the senior scramble. JCW title match, Masha Slamovich versus Suzu Suzuki. GCW title match, Violence is Forever, Dominic Garnari and Kevin Koo, the champions versus a unnamed wrestler, and Alex Price. Zack Sabre Jr. versus One Kyle Manders. Los Desperados of Alvarez, Gringo Loco, and Jack Cartwell versus the Wagner family of Dr. Wagner Jr., El Hijo del Wagner Jr., and Galeno del Mar. Mass versus Career, anything goes match. Atticus Cougar versus Fuego del Sol. Gabe Kidd versus Mance Warner. Megan Bain versus Bozilla. Listen, I can't wait for that match. That's gonna make me happy on this side. Minoru Suzuki versus Matt Tremont. No ropes barbed match, wire match. Sabu versus Joey Janela. Okay. And so we go into The Hills Have Eyes. That is at 12 a.m. And with The Hills Have Eyes, we're going to go into the matches. We have the four rope tag team match with the Hardys versus question mark or who their opponents are. Mustafa Ali, Trevor Lee versus Leon Slater. Tiara James and versus Maya World. And then we have a steel cage match of Zilla Fatu versus Josh Bishop. Ladies and gentlemen, starting again at 11 a.m. the next day, we have Effie's Big Gay Brunch. Effie's Big Gay Brunch will have a scrambled cage match, and then we'll have a cluster match with all these people listed from Super Crazy to Maven. Yes, Maven, Cheeseburger, Manny Lemons, and everybody else will be in this match. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll catch me and Workhorse Wrestling Network because we'll be combining together to do WWE Stand and Deliver, and then I will go into TJP versus GCW. As we all know, WWE does NXT, and these are the matches listed. Okay, We have the North American title ladder match: Izzy Dame, Zarya, Sol Ruka, Kalani Jordan versus two other mystery people. We should find out this Tuesday. WWE NXT North American title match: Ricky Saints versus whoever. WWE NXT title four-way match: Stephanie Vercure versus Jordan Grace versus Julia versus Jada Parker. WWE NXT triple threat match: Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. The TJP DDT GCW match is all of this will be happening at 1. It is all of them versus each other. And then we have John Wayne Murdoch, Matt Tremont, Mance Warner, Katsumi, J News word, Mao. As you see, all these people together to fight each other. We don't have any title matches listed so far, so this is all will be happening at 1 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, after that, 8 o'clock that evening, you will see me and Workhorse Wrestling Network do night 1 of WrestleMania. Ladies and gentlemen, WWE World Tag Team Title match: the World Raiders versus the New Day. We have Rey Mysterio versus El Americano. We have Naomi versus Jade Cargill. We have LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. We have for the Women's World Title match: Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. We have the WWE World Heavyweight Title match: Gunther versus Jey Uso. Triple threat match: CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. 12 o'clock a.m. again, I will be for GCW. We will be doing Joy Janela's Spring Break Cluster Forever. Ladies and gentlemen, it'll be a scramble match. And then we have another cluster with similar people. They'll add some people sometimes in the match. Last but not least, on Sunday, 7 p.m., it will be WrestleMania Night 2. And I'll be with the Workhorse Wrestling Network again to come and give you commentary. There's nothing listed right now, and this is the end. I am going to give you my spotlight, and it's from WWE. It's my girl Naomi. Naomi. Listen, she has been great so far. Her feud with Jade Cargill, she has shown us from like, I'm hurt, I did it for you, to like angry, to like crazy, to, as you see the picture before the eye, she's a little sadistic. Homegirl had razors in her hair, on a necklace, she just had everything. She ready for a fight. So, ladies and gentlemen, my spotlight of the week is Naomi. So, that's it. Yep, my good brother J News had to leave because he's got another show to do at 3. I think over at True Hill Heat. So you check him out over there. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been good. This has been so good. And we'll do our after show at 1 p.m. on Tuesday to talk about all these shows I went through. And ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you'll be here with me because I'm gonna be playing bingo. I'm gonna be playing Jeopardy. I'm gonna be playing everything you can do and have fun while you're with it. Listen, 12 o'clock, maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, you might see me. Listen, if you ain't got nothing to do, come out, have fun. Just say, hey, Delores, I want to play bingo. I want to have a good time. I want to do this. I want to do that. I got you. Okay? So thank you, ARD. ARD is so nice. See, that's why my good brother ARD, you know. Since J News is not here, I am going to do do his thing for him where he talks about J News. Listen, let me cut my camera off. J News is, I said cut my camera off. J News is not only a good commentary, he does movies. He even helps you with your fitness. Listen, how many people you know can help you get fit? You saw that baby face man that was up here earlier? He can help you. Go check him out. Scan his QR code. Check J News out, please. If you want movie reviews, If you want a little help with your uh, fitness, listen, some of his tips, I've been working. Now listen, I got a few pounds off. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to throw that thing, throw it in a circle. I don't want to do it right now, but I'm almost there. Okay? So make sure you check out J News and please click that QR code. Also, check him out. He goes and commentates on True Hill Heat. So make sure you check out my good brother J News over there. Okay? Now it's on to me. It's me. It's me. It's D. Listen, I used to love when Diamond Dollar Pay did that because that means I was out there acting a fool. That was me. Check out my QR code. Me, Dolores. I will be here from on my channel from Wednesday to Tuesday. From the Workhorse Wrestling Network, I will be on there Tuesday. And you all are like, Dolores, we don't hardly see you over there. I manage over there, but I will be over there giving out my picks, my fire controversial picks for the Workhorse Wrestling Network Hall of Fame 2025 induction. And trust me, you don't want to miss that, okay? You do not want to miss none of that. It's so fun to go over there and play and have fun and do the introductions because once a year we get to induct people we feel should be in the Hall of Fame, and mine's are is pretty controversial. As I've said before, ladies and gentlemen, I will be starting Wednesday with the ID, the rebirth, um, the living proof, the super show. Each day I got about 2 to 4 shows that I'll be watching. Some it'll be more. Make sure it's no reason none of you all cannot come by. Have a good time. All day, all day. So make sure you stop by on one of those shows and say, "What's up?" I'm always here. And if you did not know, I am Dolores of Delores Designs. And I'm here to make your dreams, your wishes come true. For those who don't know, I have built websites, made AI music, done little beats. I've set up a lot of things, Canva, tech, everything. You can find it out from me. And if you want to get in touch with me or book with me to have a consultation, make sure you check out my social medias by scanning the QR code, or you can just call me directly and I'll just be like, hey girl, hey, or hey boy, hey. So make sure you check me out there to make sure. Also, if you haven't, please check out the Workhorse Wrestling Network. Little QR code is in on the side. I will switch it out for you so you can actually scan the QR code. We are actually on Spotify and other social medias, and we want you to run those up. Go subscribe to those so we can do more with you all. We're also talking about maybe doing some Patreon stuff. I'm looking into that. So I want to make sure you all know how to get in touch with us, how to have fun with us. Because sometimes we might not do a pay-per-view and I might not do a watch along on YouTube, but I might just want to sit back and have fun in a place where I can say what I want to do, what I want, and you can have fun with me. So make sure you check those out so I can know, hey, you're interested. You want to make sure you get that. So you can see the QR code and scan it. I so much appreciate everybody who has came in, J News who comes and supports me and this channel because listen, I don't know what I would do without J News. As you all saw earlier, some of these names be fighting me and I be fighting back. I be trying my hardest. Uh we on Spotify. Make sure you hit the Ropes Podcast. Last week's episode, this week's episode, and Tuesday episode will be loaded up probably Friday of next week. I need to recover after you all saw I've done everything. So make sure you check those things out. So, ladies and gentlemen, I made an investment for us, okay? Just not just us, but just me. And I said, every time, I mean every time, we get in this Hit the Ropes podcast era, and we be setting a blaze, going over wrestling from the past, future, present, and everything else. How about I invest on something that can help us? Because me and Jay News, we be setting this thing on fire, okay? And I invested in a fan, ladies and gentlemen. I got a fan. See, listen. Y'all want to hear? Oh, Lord. As soon as I turned it up, just got cool in here. Oh, and you know what? I ain't even have to tell you to keep your clothes on. You can just enjoy the air right here, right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. If you all want to know the people that support me, the people I support, the things that I love and love to see and do, make sure you check those links out at the bottom. If you are here and you're on my channel and you are doing the lives, exclamation pink will drop your link. If you're a person who know me or I'm a part of your membership, you're already just your links are already dropping, so don't even worry about it. But I really appreciate you. J News appreciates you. Go over, I think it's True Hill Heat. Go over to True Hill Heat and check out J News. And it's spelled TRU Hill HEEL Heat. Make sure you go over there and check them out. And until then, I want to say peace.